In 1985, the Stormtroopers of Death released their album Speak English or Die, and my friend John and I are going to talk about it on this episode of Records with Ray. What came first for you? Anthrax or Stormtroopers of Death?
It was Anthrax.
Okay.
Definitely Anthrax.
So, that would have been like spreading the disease-ish era?
Yep. And then it was once Among the Living came out.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine about it at school.
Yeah.
And he was saying that I had to talk to some other guy about this other band. He didn't know the name of it, but I needed to catch up with this other guy. So I eventually caught up with this guy, and he was just like, oh, he's talking about Stormtroopers of Death.
Yeah.
And I was like, Stormtroopers of Death? He's like, yes. And I was like, yes.
I'm in.
That sounds amazing. So basically he was just like, dude, it's amazing. If you ever see it, instantly buy it. Like, no matter what. Don't pass up on it.
At that point, was there any connection to Anthrax for you?
I think he probably told me that that those guys were in it.
Yeah.
So that was, which also, heightened the level of curiosity.
Yeah.
Because I was loving Among the Living, and the earlier stuff, but Among the Living really hit. So then, months went by, and I'm just every record shop, going to the malls, just looking for it on tape. And
good luck, right?
Yeah, one day, I just found it, and I think it was at a Wall of Sound. What is it?
Wall of Sound.
Wall of Sound, yeah. And I was like, "Holy shit!"
Here it is.
And I grabbed it, and
And you got to think like the album cover. It's like camouflaged,
yeah.
And it's like this Sergeant D guy.
Yeah, I mean, who can pass it? What high school kid who's into metal is going to pass that up?
Yeah, and he has like an anarchy symbol.
Right. And if you look real closely, you can see Anthrax like written in.
Yeah.
And then like some of their names and stuff. So it's just hilarious. I mean, I had to get it immediately.
Yeah.
So obviously I took it up to the counter, bought it immediately, and instead of hanging out in the mall all night, I'm pretty sure I ended up going home, or at least out to the car, and just listening to it, and then instantly falling in love with it.
And 30 minutes later, you were done.
Yeah.
It was the first time ever where like that you had songs that were like a minute and a half long.
Oh yeah.
50 seconds. I mean, I'm not even talking about Diamonds and Rust or the Ballad of Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
But I remember like I knew of them from Anthrax, and I remember seeing. They had an article in some like Metal Maniacs or some Metal Mania or some kind of metal magazine, and they talked about how it's Charlie Bendante and Scotty of Anthrax.
Okay.
And I guess ironically, Danny was originally in Anthrax.
Yeah.
But then he went on to like do other things. And I remember like it was cool because they had a song about Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
And they had a picture of like Freddy Krueger like posing with them. I'm like I gotta get this, and they're talking about moshing.
Yeah.
And ironically, I think SOD was kind of my precursor to punk rock. Well, hardcore punk.
Yeah.
And the idea of like slam dancing and all this other stuff. And I'll tell you what, that first note, that first riff, that I'm like, oh my god, this is the heaviest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And you could tell they were still using the equipment that they had when they did Spreading the Disease. Because it's real tinny, the drums are real cracky. But I mean, immediately I was floored by this album.
Yeah.
March of the SOD into what's the second song? It's like just Sergeant D, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's March of the SOD, then Sergeant D, then Kill Yourself.
And then, but Kill Yourself was like the I was sold, because like all the fast songs are like so brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it was the first, like, normally back in the early 80s, like, I bought tapes for everything.
Yeah, me too.
And I wanted to buy the album because it had the lyrics on it.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to know what they were saying. And it was incredible, and it was like a certain level of humor that was with, like, Milk, Premenstrual Princess Blues, Pussy Whipped. But I think my favorite tune on it at this point is Fuck the Middle East. coming in at 24 seconds.
Yep.
But seriously, this was my precursor to punk rock. It kind of changed everything for me because I was a full-on metalhead.
I was listening to punk rock at the time. I was into like the Misfits. There was Agnostic Front, Life Sentence, things like that.
Yeah.
So I was getting more and more into the crossover stuff, obviously. Yeah. And that SOD, it just really floored me. I mean, like you said, the sound of that guitar was just so heavy.
Yeah.
I was listening to Youth of Today at the time, and I always thought like they were just so crazy.
Oh, they were listening to this, and then
it just floored me.
And the crazy thing is not getting technical or anything like that, but a lot of metal in the 80s was at standard tuning.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Slayer, like they tuned down like one step, so they were slightly heavier. But all this like real drop D, C, B tuning was not really happening. And this was honestly the heaviest thing I think I've heard at that point. Is it considered crossover ultimately?
I don't know. I always just kind of considered it metal.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I guess some of those faster short songs. I guess getting into DRI and stuff, I would say I kind of put them in the same. Yeah. I mean, so I guess crossover.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. So there was only a project. They played a couple shows and then everyone kind of moved on. And then I remember they released the second album.
Mm-hmm.
What was that one?
To Hell is it To Hell?
To Hell with the Devil is a Striper album.
Oh, yeah. What am I thinking?
Whatever it is. But,
but that's how much of an impact it had on me.
But I remember, like...
Bigger Than the Devil.
Bigger Than the Devil. And I remember I got that album, and I was just sort of like... Time has passed. Mm-hmm. And all of them have gone on to do different things.
Yeah.
Billy Milano with MOD... Danny with Brutal Truth, with Broken Bones, Nuclear Assault... obviously Scott and Charlie with Anthrax, and when they made that next album, you could tell who wrote what song. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is one obviously that the guys from Anthrax wrote. Oh, this is obviously the song that Danny wrote.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the song that, and I hate to say, I mean it almost seemed like they were too self-aware of what they were trying to do, but when they did Speak English or Die, it was a unit. It was a band. It didn't seem like a project. It seemed like they were all going in and writing songs together.
Yep.
And it's a snapshot, a perfect snapshot of that. And I don't think that's ever going to be done again.
Yeah.
Even with those guys.
Right. Well, I mean, when you talk about being self-aware with Anthrax, I feel that is almost. With those guys, it's almost their biggest problem is that they're too conscious about what they're doing, and it's almost they're their own worst enemy.
Ironically, the thing about Anthrax, and I'm a fan.
Oh, yeah,
don't get me wrong,
absolutely.
But if there's anything that I would criticize about Anthrax, is their songs are so long.
Yeah.
Unbelievably long. I mean, ironically, the album Persistence of Time. Yeah, you got like 7-minute long songs, 8-minute long songs. It was very, very refreshing for the guys from Anthrax to do songs that are like a minute and a half. And what's the longest song on this album? Let's see. I mean, I love it because they actually have the time.
Right.
So would it be Fist Banging Mania? 219. Sergeant D. And the SOD is Speak English or Die.
2:20.
2 minutes and 20 seconds. To me, that's an epic on this album.
Yeah.
But
it's no Iron Maiden.
It's no Iron Maiden, but this definitely changed my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember listening to it every day on the bus with my Walkman and just cranking it. And my ears were ringing when I'd get off the bus, and just people were like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, "Just don't even worry about it. You're not going to understand."
It's keeping me in a good mood.
Yeah.
Now walk away. Because I know you, John.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that definitely fueled the fire back then.
Yeah.
No doubt. I did get to see him at the Ritz when they played with Agnostic Front, and I think it was Death Angel.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. And then I did see him like at the Trocadero.
Yeah, I saw that
Philly.
show.
Yep. And that was okay, but, the Ritz show was just insane.
Oh, could you imagine going to any of those shows that they actually did when they...
The originals. That's the guy who told me about it. His best friend had gone.
Yeah.
And they said it was just insane.
You and I are kind of in the same boat where it's like, I'm just as much of a metalhead as I'm a punk rocker.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, SOD definitely crosses that bridge.